Freight Revolution, creators of the FR8Star marketplace for open deck carriers and shippers, and Comdata, a FleetCor company and a leader in payment and permit innovation, have announced the results of their co-sponsored 2018 Heavy Haul Freight Carrier Survey, with responses from more than 250 U.S.-based open deck truckers. Matt Kropp is CEO of FR8Star. He joins us now. Matt, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about the survey and the reason you had it done.
Well, we wanted to understand more about our customers, and we partnered up with Comdata. FR8Star is a marketplace for heavy haul freight, so we match up shippers and carriers that move anything on a flatbed, basically. So that includes anything from small hotshots up to big, oversized, overweight loads. And we wanted to understand more about our customers. And we've also been working with Comdata using their ComCheck mobile platform to pay our carriers. We wanted to understand more about how carriers think about getting paid.
I think they probably said they like it.
They do. Well, I'll tell you, that's probably one of the biggest things that we've heard, not just from the survey, but just from our customers, is they're really keen on getting paid fast and not having to pay for it. I think they're used to getting paid maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days after they've completed the job, and then they'll have brokers that basically are charging them factoring fees if they want to get their money faster. So we've definitely heard this this need to get paid as quickly as possible.
So one of the takeaways on this study or report is getting your money and getting it fast.
Absolutely. So there are a couple things that we saw in the survey. In terms of things that carriers really thought were important, the number one thing was getting paid fast without any factoring fees. So 28% of our carriers surveyed said that was the most important thing that they could get from an online marketplace. The other things that came up that maybe are a little bit more surprising, 25% said that they really wanted, this is the second highest item, they wanted better information about the load that they're going to pick up. And this is something that we've seen with our customers. The way that loads are typically booked, especially if you have a broker in the middle, is sometimes not all of the information is passed from the shipper to the carrier. That causes all sorts of problems, because then you end up, maybe they haven't communicated to the carrier that there's a certain pickup time window based on needing a crane, or they haven't told the carrier that they're going to need to tarp the load. That's going to affect, how much the carrier is going to charge. It's going to affect whether they even think they can get a truck there on time. So having really good information about the load is very important. And that was, the second thing that came up in our survey.
So I did take note that 3/4 of the truckers that were responding to your survey said their experience with traditional brokers is good.
Interestingly, we had these two questions. 75% said that they've had a good experience with traditional brokers, but almost the same percentage, 73%, said that if they never had to talk to a broker again, that'd be a good thing. So it's kind of an interesting finding, but I think my interpretation here is, especially the smaller carriers, they really can't survive without getting loads from brokers. They don't necessarily have enough direct customers of their own. So they really live off of those loads that are coming in from brokers. At the same time, they don't necessarily have a great experience. And there isn't an alternative today. They really don't have anywhere else to go. And so that's what we're trying to create with FR8Star.com, is a marketplace where we connect shippers directly with carriers. There's no broker in the middle. Obviously, we're in the middle as a platform, but we're really just connecting both sides, and we think that that's a better experience for carriers. And they're telling us that, too. They're saying that the experience of using a marketplace is a better one than they're used to with a broker.
So when you talk to truckers and they say, thanks, but no thanks, I'll go ahead and use the broker, I'm not interested, why don't they get it? What do you think the pushback is about?
We always hear the story of the load where, the broker told them they could only pay $2,000, and they get to the drop off and they see the invoice and they see that the shipper paid $4,000. So I think there's always a skepticism of anyone that's a middleman. We're still a middleman, even though we're a marketplace, a bit different from a broker. But I think there's some skepticism. How are we, somehow going to take advantage of them? And that's where the guys that end up hauling for us, they see that we actually are really on their side. And my team is great. They're great on the phone supporting them. They're, super friendly, and frankly, that counts for a lot. And they get paid, and they get paid what they wanted to get paid. So I think you have to experience that to believe it. But I do think that, over time, actually not that much time, I think that more and more carriers will try us out, and we'll see that it really works, and that it really is a better way for them to find loads for their business.
A significant amount of truck transport in North America is handled by freight brokers. And now this new way of looking at things through a marketplace is catching on. We've got truckers who are interested. What did your study say about truckers being tech savvy?
I think there's maybe a myth that the truckers aren't tech savvy. 90% of our survey respondents identified themselves as tech savvy. And I can tell you from our experience, they're definitely online. They definitely, every one of our carriers, every one of our drivers has a smartphone. They're quite adept at using technology when it helps them with their business. What
did you find out regarding the use of load boards?
So we didn't ask about load boards per se, but there's a big difference between, a load board and a marketplace. The load boards, this is DAT or Internet Truck Stop. Essentially, the loads that are posted there are all from brokers. So working with a load board is essentially like working with a broker. And you're not able with a load board to actually book a load. So, the load board is sort of an advertisement. Then you call the broker to get the load booked. It's very different from a marketplace where you actually can book the load directly through the marketplace, through FR8Star.com. We actually collect the money from the shipper and pay the carrier. And, the big thing that we do is we pay the carrier the same day they deliver.
There are over 12,000 freight brokers in the United States. Do you feel, based on, I know it's one survey, but are we looking at the end of the line for brokerage services? Are brokers on borrowed time in the near future?
I don't know if I'd say near future. I do think that you're going to see a consolidation. So, there are some big brokers out there. C.H. Robinson's not going away anytime soon. But I do think that these freight marketplaces like us, like Convoy or even Uber, people talk about Uber Freight, they're certainly coming. I think that they will start to move more and more freight that would have gone through a broker. And I think that's a good thing for the carriers. I think that the carriers will make more money. I think they'll have a better experience. I think they'll get paid faster. I think they'll be able to build their business more effectively.
So where do you go from here, Mark? What do you see for the future for FR8Star in 2019, 2020? How's it look ahead?
Well, we're focused on making our product better and better and building out the size of our network. So we have over 3,500 carriers right now. That's about 30,000 trucks that are available through our platform. We want to make that bigger and bigger because obviously that gives our shippers access to more carriers. And at the same time, we're working on adding more services to our carriers. So we really see this as being a network where we're supporting our carriers to help them build their business. And that's, we start with paying them very fast, but over time we'll add more services to them that actually makes this really a valuable part of their business.
Maybe asking you where you're headed in the future isn't fair. It's like going to a job interview and they ask you where you see yourself in 5 years because you're a relatively new kid on the block. When did you start?
We started in 2015, so we're definitely a new kid on the block. But I think we're also learning from what's been there before. People may have been familiar with U-Ship. We've certainly observed what they've done, and I think we've done some things that are a lot more carrier-friendly, such as we don't let brokers bid against the carriers, which is something that happens in U-Ship. So we're definitely new, but we think that we'll be the leading player in the flatbed space where we're focused.
And why are you focusing on the flatbed space?
Because it's hard.
I know that's why I do things.
No, that's honestly why.
I purposely do things because it's hard.
No, and that really is. It's because we feel like if we can do a good job there, then we can serve dry van and reefer. But it's also, it's a better part of the market. The drivers and the carriers that are running flatbed, it takes a level of sophistication to play in that market. So we actually thought that it was a better place to start because we can work with, small carriers, but carriers that are really good at what they do, and then expand from there. The other thing that we've done, so we have a rate calculator. If you're moving anything oversized, overweight, especially, you put it into our platform, and we'll tell you what the permit cost is going to be. We'll tell you what if you need a pilot car or a police escort and how much that's going to cost. So for a shipper, it actually adds a lot of service, where they had no idea what it was going to cost to move their load before, unless they got bids. Now we can actually give them a breakdown of what all the costs are, except for the carrier, and then the carrier bids. So we felt like we could add a lot of value by creating this calculator service. And it's hard. It's sort of the hardest part of the market. If we can do heavy haul, we can do flatbed. If we can do flatbed, we can do dry van.
All right. It'll be interesting to see where you head from here. Thanks, Matt. I've been speaking with Matt Kropp, who is the CEO of FR8Star. And Matt, thanks again for sharing this recent survey with all of us here at Landline Now.
Absolutely. Thank you as well.